couple of years ago, I had the great opportunity to go hear Matthew Kelly from the Dynamic Catholic group speak in, of all places, University of Irvine. And he gave a great talk about many things regarding religion, state of the religion, um, what's great about being a Catholic. One of the things that he talked about that I had never really thought about before was that great Catholics make great employees, or just in general, Catholics make great employees. And I never really thought about that before. So I wanted to address that topic, and I did a little bit of research online, found a couple good articles that I wanted to reference, and just briefly give an overview of why I think Catholics make good employees. So, one thing that Matt talked about, just to quote him and reference his talk, was that as Catholics, we need our yes to be a firm yes, our no to be a firm no. We can't live in this gray area and be, wishy-washy, so to speak, especially when it comes to making good decisions in our lives. We need to base our decisions off the moral teachings of Jesus and his church. And then when we do decide on the right way to go forward, we need to commit to that and not backtrack and second guess ourselves. In general, Matthew Kelly likes to say that if you believe that Jesus is who he says he is, then you should also believe all the things that he taught and said. And you should follow him as best you can per those things that he said. If you stumble, you get back up again and you try again. But you don't, commit to certain things and not other things. That's kind of what he's talking about. You gotta go into it with your whole heart, your whole being. So that's one of the great things I took from that talk with Matthew Kelly. Now, I found online also this great website. It's called 12 Reasons Why Catholicism is Good for You. And I'm just going to go through that list of 12, 12 being a super number in Catholic religion, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles, a dozen eggs. It's just a good number. So I'm going to go through this list and apply it to the workplace and hopefully make that connection between being a good Catholic and a good employee. First of all, religion is good for you. So they talk about that practice of any religion really is good for you. It has mental health benefits, and who doesn't want a mentally healthy employee, especially during these very trying times? You want employees that are stable. Secondly, prayer brings peace. So people that pray or meditate in general, it slows you down. It gets you to look introspectively. It reduces the tension in your body. It slows your brain down, which might be racing with some of the stressful things that are going on at work. Helps you to deal with the ups and downs of the average workday. It also helps in general with being able to think of the things you need to do better on or do better with, or where you might need help from God or from someone else. So that time, that contemplation really is helpful. The third one is confession. I talk about confession being very good for you. I think it's great for employees too. Let me tell you why. Because if you have something that's nagging you, that's bugging you, and you feel guilty about it at work, I mean, Catholic guilt is a thing. I don't know if people who are not Catholic feel the same kind of guilt that we feel when we mess up. But I think Catholic guilt extends to other places in our lives, like the workplace. So going to confession, regardless if you're Catholic or not, I think just telling somebody how you feel, getting some counseling, is great, and that's one of the roles of the priest in the confessional, at least in my experience, is that they, if they're comfortable doing it, can offer you some counseling on how to improve yourself, and it gives you a fresh start every time you go in. As Catholics, we Try to go in at least once a year, but monthly is recommended. So if you can imagine going into the confessional every month and spilling your guts, and then basically coming out of there feeling clean and fresh and renewed and being able to start over again, that's got to be good for your work. Fourth, following the doctrine and the dogma and being knowledgeable on it um, gives your life structure. You go to church every Sunday, there's a rhythm to your life as a Catholic, and that structure also lends itself well to the workplace where you have to show up at a certain time. You have to, sign your time card at the end of the day. You have to leave and you have to follow certain instructions. So that is a benefit of being a religious person. And then the moral teachings of the church give employees, I would think, guidelines like do not steal, do not, covet something that you don't have. Um, do not lie. Do not cheat. Do not speak bad about your coworkers. Okay, I mean, we've probably all met a coworker who likes to gossip, and as Catholics, that's something that we are not supposed to do. That violates the sixth commandment: do not kill. Yeah, you're not killing someone physically, but or literally, but you are demeaning them, and in a way that's diminishing their life. You're damaging their reputation. So Catholics are very against that kind of thing. The number six here, if you've been counting, community is healthy. So Catholics are encouraged to live in a community, not in isolation. And again, this helps with the mental stability, but it also teaches you how to just deal with other people and deal with the foibles that people naturally have. I mean, everyone's different. You learn how to work together. Um, we give each other the sign of peace at church. So it's like you're taught not to have ill feelings or have resentment of your coworkers. And I think that's very healthy for a team that you're trying to build within a workplace. Uh, the seventh item here is religious people live longer. So this is basically a statistic I think that shows that religious people live on average 7 years longer than non-religious people. Hey, that's 7 more years of work that you can get out of your employees. But it also this is because we tend not to engage in self-destructive activities like drinking or drug abuse, things like that. Number eight, this is an interesting one. Catholicism makes you prosperous. So the thought here is that people that practice tithing or donating to their church or other charitable organizations, they have to make do with less. But also, because they have less, personally, and they're giving more of their wealth away, they are driven to be more thrifty, make good decisions with their money, the little money that they retain for themselves. And they're also driven to make more of it, not just for themselves, but also so they can give more of it away. Nine, the economy benefits from religion. So how would I apply this to the workplace? Well, um, Catholics are one of the major charitable organizations, the Catholic Church, um, in the world. And in the United States, I did some research on this a year or two ago when some people were asking me questions. The Catholic Church is like one of the top charities in the United States. So you can rest assured that your employee, while you're employing them and paying them to do a job, is also giving a lot of that away to other charitable organizations and contributing to the economy from that perspective. There's a saying, that a society is only as strong as its weakest link. And so Catholics try to go search out that weak link because of the Beatitudes and the teachings of Jesus Christ, who said that we should help the poor. And by doing that, Catholics help lift the status and the well-being of society as a whole by seeking out the weakest and most susceptible people in society and trying to lift them up. Number 10, the liturgy and the rosary have hidden benefits. Okay, this is an interesting one. So, if you haven't lived in Catholicism before, if you haven't practiced it regularly, or you maybe are Catholic but you don't practice your faith, this is something that might be challenging for you to understand. But if you are, say, a frequent practitioner of saying the rosary every day, you'll notice or that saying the rosary every day puts you in kind of a meditative perspective, and so that repetition, that ritualism, that tradition These have kind of healing benefits, both psychologically and I would say physically too. Just stopping and quieting your mind. I read a study several years ago that people that meditate, 10 minutes a day tend to have much better health. So the Rosary takes about, 17 minutes. So there you go. Number 11, Catholicism brings universal purpose. Um, so as Catholics, we're looking forward to Jesus' second coming, and we're looking, towards Judgment Day. We have a desire to get to heaven, and uh, that requires us to believe and have faith, but then also try to follow Jesus. Not that we're trying to earn our way into heaven, but we're trying to follow Jesus and do the things that we think he wants us to do. So that's where the good acts come in that people sometimes get confused about. They think that we're doing good acts to try to like buy some spiritual currency, but really we're just trying to live the life that Jesus calls us to live. Um, and that extends to the workplace. I think in general Catholics are probably more likely to help out a coworker out of a sense of duty, out of a sense of trying to follow Christ, out of a sense of purpose. I want to be a good person. I want to go to heaven someday. Um, and there's a meaning there to your life that I think also gives extra meaning to your work. I think Catholics try to find a job or a career that they find to be meaningful in helping out the world in some way. And when you do that, when you follow your heart, there you will find your treasure, and that's from the Bible. So I think Catholics tend to be a little more passionate, maybe, in their work because they try to find something, and sometimes that search, can take a circuitous kind of route with many different jobs or whatever. But you try to find something that is meaningful, and in doing that, you enable yourself to be a better worker. Hopefully you're following where I'm going with this. But if I like my work, I'm probably going to do a better job at it. Let's just, say that. Number 12, Catholicism integrates beauty. And so this is, I think, especially important in jobs where some creativity is required. If you go and look inside of a church, um, there's beautiful sculptures, artwork, stained glass windows. I think it was Scott Hahn, or maybe Patrick Madrid, one of those Catholic apologists was telling this story of the stained glass windows. So if you look into a church from the outside, it's dark. Like the stained glass windows are very dark, and it looks like a depressing place. But if you go inside of a Catholic church and you look out with the stained glass windows and the sun shining in, it's radiating beauty, and you suddenly realize that inside the church is really this um, amazing, luminous, splendid place full of art and life, reflected in the beauty of the decorations in the church. And I think being surrounded by that makes you a little more appreciative of art and makes you maybe a little more creative in a way than if you were just exposed to only things that you see in the secular society or in maybe museums. So I think there is something to be said for that, and the prayer life also helps with that as well. The beautiful manuscripts, Bibles that people have. So it's not just it's not just all morality, but it's also creativity, structure, um, and all these other great things that religion give you, I think make you also a better employee. So, um, if you're an employer and you find out that your employee is a practicing Catholic, do not be upset. It probably is a good thing. And if you're a Catholic, you can feel a little bit of pride in your religion in that, and the positive aspects that it enables you to have in your life that leads you to be a better worker and hopefully more successful in your careers. Thanks, everybody. Bye.